Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this Monday morning recorded edition of the Real Sports Scope, Monday, May the 11th. Hope everybody had a good Mother's Day weekend. I know I did. Great basketball on the NBA lottery. And, of course, remember now Bobby Cox, former Atlanta Braves manager, passed away this weekend. Talk about that. Plus NFL streaming. Didn't put that in the title. I just now noticed. There was a report out more pressure on the NFL from the legal side, from Department of Justice here. Report about that to put more pressure on NFL and getting all these streaming set up here. And I'll talk about that. Rupert Murdoch, the former Fox chairman, lobbying the President Trump, to do something about it. And you know what? They may have a point there. So step by. We'll take our first and only break. I'll get right into this Victor Wembanyama foul and talk about a potential suspension and more. We'll be back here. I'll be back here momentarily. Hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope after a short break. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, I'm back here live. Okay, or recorded. I think this is going to be an interesting series. Said it'll probably be an interesting series. Spurs Timberwolves now tied after Victor Wembanyama injected for an elbow to Naz Reid. My take is he is a young, frustrated guy. Got an elbow in the face a few minutes before he elbowed Naz Reid. This is NBA playoff basketball. He's trying to get position of the ball. People grabbing at him. They're playing him more physical. I said this before the playoffs. The refs typically let more physicality go on in the playoffs. Wembanyama can become such a level dominant player like a Shaquille O'Neal, where they may change the rules to bring back hand checking. That's all a possibility with this guy. Now, what everybody else on social media in the sports world, that's why I'm the best, and I just happened to catch this particular play because I watch these plays, record these games and watch it on replay. But watch this hit on Wembanyama that was called a foul, but is not called a flagrant foul. I don't even think he actually took shots. I think this was a takeout foul. But he gets elbowed in the face about 2 minutes, folks. About 2 minutes before he was ejected for elbowing Naz Reid. Watch up. Listen.
And Jamal, we've been seeing this throughout the playoffs, right? It was that first round series with Portland, and now here, he's taking a lot of shots. He has, but
see, right up under the chin. It is what it is. They go on. Wembanyama's think, okay, so that's how the refs are going to call this game. So if it's elbows to the face is good, just going to call it a foul, a takeout foul. Well, I guess I could do that too. Here it is. About 2 minutes later, him with the elbow that got him ejected to Naz Reid. Watch.
There you go. There's the bat. The puck's out. There's that. There's that's ooh. That's a problem for the Spurs.
Yeah, that's going to be a flagrant one. That's going to be upgraded.
The criteria for a flagrant
Reg,
foul.
there is a possibility that's a 2.
Oh, man.
Obviously, fans are seeing it at a different time than you are at home. There's their reaction. The penalty 2 in a flagrant foul is unnecessary and excessive contact.
Yeah, and before that, Reggie Miller was like, hey, it's a playoffs. It's a flagrant 1. It's a flagrant 1. Both guys hit in the chin. Both guys hit in the face. One, no flagrant 1. Not even a flagrant 1. The other flagrant 2, Wembanyama gets ejected. It's not said per se, folks, but I think the refs are kind of, it is implied to them, let's keep this thing going. Let's kick out their best player. Here's an opportunity to keep this series going. That's just the sense I get from something like this. It's never going to be said in an email or anything like that, but it is going to be implied. He should not get suspended. There's talks about maybe him being suspended because Metta World Peace or Ron Artest, if you would like. He elbowed a James Harden in the face several years ago, young James Harden, and he was suspended going into the next season. I don't think this is that type of situation. One thing, he does not have a Ron Artest type of reputation. He's a young guy in the league. He's not known for excessive technicals. He's not a Draymond Green, to refer a modern day type of player per se. I think he was just trying to get position. It looks worse in slow motion than it does in real time, but in real time, it's, hey, give me the ball, man. People's getting rough with him. You don't see what led up to it. Now, that particular player wasn't the same player. I forgot who the other guy was. We can watch it again here.
And Jamal, we've been seeing this throughout the playoffs, whether it was that first round.
Yeah, Harris Jr. or whoever. It wasn't a back and forth. It was just how they were playing Wembanyama, going right at him, and him catching those free elbows there. So hopefully, my guess is $30,000 fine. They play. Some are saying suspension. I think that would be wrong to suspend him, considering the fact what happened to him a few plays before that. Like I said, literally like 2 minutes before that when I was recording this game. So that being said, still like San Antonio to win this series, but it could go 6 or 7. Like I talked about with the Mad New Yorker last week. In the other game, listen, Knicks get the sweep, winning by 30 points, and will at least have one extra day rest against a likely Detroit Piston team. Of course, that I think was it game 3 or game 4 tonight. Game 4 tonight, I want to say, with Cleveland there. So Cleveland did get the one win. But listen, Knicks are playing really well. No OG Anunoby, no problem. They're rolling right now. They're playing the best basketball I've ever seen this Knicks team play. They set a record, or they tie the record? 11 threes in the first quarter. They've outscored opponents 194 points in the last 10 games. This gives Anunoby some time to come back, an extra day. He's got this calf injury here, gives him some extra rest time there. And of course, they're, now if it's Cleveland, they would host Cleveland. But if for whatever reason, which I think it would be, it'll be Detroit. They'll play at Detroit. They're shooting the ball well. They're distributing the ball well. They're playing as good enough defense. They're not playing great defense per se, but I do think with the Mitch Robertson there, the defense is there, the communication's there. You're looking at guys like Jalen Brunson making the extra pass here. We're seeing Karl Anthony Towns get the ball inside. Oh, he's looking banged up like crazy. He needs the extra rest as well. Mitchell Robertson's a big key. So if they, for whatever reason, now Oklahoma City has swept the Lakers. Now, going back to the other series, if Oklahoma City plays the Minnesota Timberwolves, now that would be Oklahoma City probably in 4 or 5 games. I think Timberwolves will be shot if for whatever reason that they knock out the Spurs. I don't think they're going to beat the Spurs, but they could. If for whatever reason they knock out the Spurs, then that's a much that is not as good a matchup for this Knicks team. And I'm looking ahead, assuming the Knicks would beat would beat the Pistons the way they're playing right now. I think they would. I think they would beat the Pistons. That would definitely favor the OKC Thunder. But if they're playing the Spurs, like I've said before, in the regular season, they're 3-1 against the Spurs. They beat them in the in-season tournament championship with the Mitchell Robertson Wembanyama matchup there. I would pick the Knicks to win the championship, folks. That would pick the Knicks to win the championship. So that's how well I think they're playing right now. Don't want to get ahead of myself. They've got to get healthy, but they got the sweep over the Philadelphia 76ers. I was reading today the Sixers are in possible they're looking at everybody. Daryl Morey. They're looking at Nick Nurse. I think Nick Nurse would have been there a year or two. So they're looking at everybody. There could possibly be some firings there. Joel Embiid. I mean, I would try to move Embiid. Listen, Joel Embiid is a great player when he's playing. Talked about it last week. Plays about 30-something regular season games. He's missed about a fourth of his career since being drafted. At this point, I think Embiid's more of a rotational player. He's more of a rotational player. You cannot depend on him to be an everyday starter. He's just not healthy enough. And I know the guy's under 30 years old, I want to say, but he's just not healthy enough to be an everyday player and get everyday player salary. That's something that's really got to be looked at around the league. There's no way that I'm paying him big money to be an everyday player. This team is about Maxey and building around him, per se. So, but we'll see how this thing ends up. All right, now, there's also the NBA draft lottery, and Jay Bilas said that he thought that this was the deepest draft in 30 years, and which would go back to 1996. Which I should go ahead and pick up this. I meant to get those players there. But you got guys like Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash were drafted in 96. Pretty deep draft there. But this is being compared to the 1996 draft. So Washington, the Wizards, who have, I guess it's, you get really, if you trade for Anthony Davis, you get the number 1 pick. The Dallas Mavericks traded for Anthony Davis. They got Cooper Flagg last year. The Wizards traded for Anthony Davis. They end up getting the number 1 pick, which would be like a AJ DeBonte out of BYU. Looks to be that guy. There was a lot of talks that maybe it was the what's his name? Let me make sure I got this guy's name here. Yeah, Peterson. Darren Peterson was forever looked at as being the top guy from Kansas. So very deep draft here. But like I said, there's talks of them trade. You never hear that in the NFL all the time. Yeah, not unless it's a world-class quarterback. Now, if it's Victor Wembanyama, they're not going to trade that. But you look at the depth of this draft, Darren Peterson, even though checking himself out of games, questioned about his health, the family stuff, the oddness. He's dropped down to number 2 prospect according to ESPN. Cameron Boozer's all the way up to the son of Carlos Boozer, up to the 3 prospect. Now, the Jazz have the 2 pick. He was very good with the Utah Jazz, Carlos Boozer. Dad was. They could take him. Now, this Caleb Wilson was hurt, but man, did he look good. His workout looks good. He's the forward out of North Carolina. He could very well be the best player in this particular draft. And listen, I watch a lot of University of Tennessee basketball. This guy, Nate Ament, who I thought probably should have stayed in school, could have been maybe the 1 or 2 pick next year, because next year's draft is supposed to be historically bad. He's all the way at the 8th overall prospect. Very silky, smooth player, forward. I want to say 6'10" guy, shoots the ball really well. Kind of reminds me of a poor man's Kevin Durant. He's all the way at 8th ranking. Yes, you heard that right. He is considered an 8th ranked prospect. Guys like Darius Acuff get to the rim with nobody. I mean, just with ease, can score with ease there. the guard out of Arkansas, is considered the 6th overall prospect. So you have a lot of guys, and this is not my opinion. This is NBA expert scouts around the league. There's not a big difference between 1 or 2 considered to be 8 and 9 level ranking prospect. That is very, very rare for the NBA. Remember, the draft will be coming up next month here, and of course, you got you've got the overall draft order here, with Washington getting that first pick, the Jazz getting the second pick here, and obviously, Grizzlies, Memphis has a good shot to get better there if they want to trade Ja Morant. They have not traded Ja Morant. Maybe this could be before the draft, the trade for Ja Morant, but they'll have the 3 pick with the Bulls, with the 4, and the Clippers getting that 5 pick. And the Oklahoma City Thunder in this tremendously deep draft, even though they're favorites to win the championship, get the 12th pick. And this is from a trade for God knows when, that they have the 12th pick overall. And there was a chance they could have had the number 1 overall pick. But this is a year where the actual worst team got the number 1 pick. That usually does not happen here in the Washington Wizards. But mind you, folks, next year, this thing will be changed. Next year, this will be changed here. And the rules, I thought I wrote some notes about this, if I can find it here. Yeah, beginning in 2027, the NBA is implementing a 3-2-1 anti-tanking lottery system designed to penalize the worst teams, expanding the lottery to 16 now instead of 14. Key changes assigning only 2 lottery balls to the bottom 3 teams, folks, down their percentages from 14 to 5% for number 1, while regarding the teams just outside of the playoffs with a higher 8% odds. So they're going to change the lottery balls and everything. So that's interesting. I kind of wish they'd go a little bit step further, like the first team not in the playoffs would get that pick. That would be more interesting. Like my man Keith Engel talked about the other day. Okay. Cannot go too long without getting a NFL story in here. There are reports here that Rupert Murdoch, the chairman there, the founder of, sorry, I'm getting a text here. The founder of the Fox Corporation, supposedly he's lobbying the President Trump to do something with the Department of Justice about NFL and streaming services. Right now, you've got about 13% of the games. That's the NFL's pushback. Hey, 87% of the games are on broadcast television. Listen, I've looked at this, and every year it just seems to me that there is more and more, there's more and more games that are going to streaming. Amazon, for example, not only do you have to pay to get Amazon, but Amazon shows commercials. So you're getting double wedged in on having to pay for something through like an Amazon per se. Okay. And the Department of Justice is looking into, they are looking into antitrust possibility with issues with the NFL and streaming services. My thing is, when you go to this, you are edging out. It shows the greed of the NFL. You're edging out more and more of your core fan, which is just blue collar, everyday working people, truck drivers, security out, construction workers, people who really do not want to search for games, do not want to pay that extra money. You know, I was looking up and researching that story. The average cost of a game for a family to go to the game now Forget about watching on TV. To actually go to a game is almost $800. It's like $770 something for an average family of 4 to go to an NFL game. So that is very expensive. Okay, that is over. That's one game, folks. That's one game. All right, and it's almost $20 a month for an Amazon or for Netflix. You got about $16 for Amazon Prime. Then you actually pay for your cable. That can be anywhere from me. It's almost $300 a month. And I don't even have premium channels to pay for cable. You added in a sports package. So those numbers are getting over the top expensive. So you have to pay for a cable package if you want to if you want to watch ESPN Monday night games, okay? You have to pay for that cable package. Then if you want to see an Amazon or a Netflix game, you have to pay for a separate package. And then if you want to see the games on YouTube, all the games, and that's not even counting the primetime games, that could be up to $1,000, okay? So they're pricing more and more of the average Joe, just out of pure greed, man. Just out of pure monumental greed the NFL's doing. So I kind of like to see the Department of Justice slap them down, even though Roger Goodell said, hey, listen, the NFL, 87% are still on broadcast TV. But if you look the other way and keep doing it, I could see 100% going to streaming, 100%. And it's totally the poor, like myself growing up, these kids that work their rear ends off, that aspire to be players, want to watch the whole game, not just clips on the internet. You know, I can see it get to a place where, because they're so greedy, the NFL knows that there's problems with these Thursday games. The product is just not 100%. The players are, but it's all about money for that prime time money there. The players are not quite up to par from a defensive standpoint. You're not getting a full product. You're not getting the best product by watching this game on Thursday night. The players need that extra time off to recover. You're going to see the best offense and best defense that each team can give you when they've got full rest, not 3 days rest there, you know. And what they do, they don't do nothing about it. They want more. They want 18 games now. The NFL wants to play. The schedule release is coming out. They're going to play games in Australia. Now, that's to start the season, but still. I mean, it's driven by just pure greed. And you're just costing the players. The players are getting paid for this, but it's really taking a toll on the fans here, especially with gas the way it is right now. I kind of like to see them get slapped down a little bit. The NFL's a little bit ahead of itself. So that's a story that's going around with the schedule release coming out later on this week. NBA story that I missed. I talked about Steve Kerr the other day, how I thought that he should step down for a year or two. And ESPN was supposedly offering him $7 million recently reported. I think he probably should have took that. Well, he didn't. He's accepted a 2-year deal to stay with the Golden State Warriors. This reported over the weekend. So I'm thinking now that the Warriors are going to go after Giannis. You're going to add the old heads like Draymond Green, Steph, and an often injured Giannis at this point in his career and try to run it back. Now, Giannis is pretty good. I don't know if that's going to happen now, but there is speculation. The owner said maybe we'll get something done before the draft. So this great draft coming up here, we'll see what happens there with possibly a Giannis maybe getting dealt to a Golden State to try to run it back there. But I think they need to get younger. Maybe if they can get some younger players, but they're going to have to give up that first-round pick. I think they're picking like 11th or something, the Golden State Warriors. But I just think that is a bad move there for Steve Kerr personally. And listen, he only signed a 2-year deal. So he wants to – when you sign a short deal like that, I think he's like 60 or something, young 60 though, he's got one foot out the door. He's got the end date end date in mind from the Golden State Warriors. I thought he should step down, do a little broadcast TV, and come back to a new opportunity. Also, in the baseball world, by the way, congratulations to the Atlanta Braves, getting 2 out of 3 over the world champion LA Dodgers. But some sad news over the weekend. Bobby Cox died 2 weeks before his 85th birthday. Just talking about him on Thursday's program with that team of the Atlanta Braves in the 90s. They won 14. I told Carlos it was more than that. I told him it was a lot. 14 straight division titles from 1991 to 2005, winning the World Series in 1995. Man, thoughts and prayers with the Cox family there. You know, I said on social media and everything that him and Ted Turner, they're going to start a league there up in heaven somewhere. You know, and maybe Ted Turner lobbied God to take Bobby Cox a little early so they can start a league up in heaven. So 2 really good guys that I've watched for a long time. Bobby Cox, pretty interesting tidbits about him. Most kicked out ever. Most ejected manager in the history of Major League Baseball was Bobby Cox. So, yeah, they came up short. You know, I made some notes that the Atlanta Braves and during those years, they got to many World Series, but they always lacked a power hitter or 2. You got really excited as a Braves fan when they would acquire Fred McGriff, for example, or later on like a Gary Sheffield. Then they drafted and brought up through their farm system an MVP, I want to say in 99, a Chipper Jones per se. But they never really had that extra bat or 2 around him like a Toronto Blue Jays that won 2 world titles back in the day in 92 and 93, or those Yankee teams per se. I'll stand corrected the other day. 91 was not Detroit Tigers, although Jack Morris played for the Tigers, the great pitcher there. It was the Minnesota Twins in 91. They had the Kirby Pucketts of the world. They won the World Series in 91. So they always lacked that extra bat that it seems like the American League opponent seemed to have. But they did get that 95 title. And like I said, it wasn't because of a guy like Bobby Cox. Bobby Cox, he was one of the first managers I see that would constantly, he would bring in one pitcher just for one at bat. Then he would stop the game again, bring another relief pitcher because he had righty on righty, lefty on lefty. He was big at doing those switches. He managed his rear end off. He coached as hard and used as much strategy as he possibly could. Rest in peace, Bobby Cox, dead at 85. What a great life there from the Atlanta Brave legend. And, of course, the Braves put out a statement about him, and I thought was really good. If I can find it here. Let's see. We're overcome with emotion of the passing of Bobby Cox. And Skipper Bobby was the best manager to ever wear a Braves uniform. He led 14 straight division titles in the World Series. And they put a long statement out there, and I thought that was really good and classy of the organization to do so. So, folks, I'll be back on here live Thursday with the Mad New Yorker. We'll go over it. Maybe we'll catch some of these NFL schedule release games. I know the Giants are going to play the Cowboys, which I know a lot of times these networks like to put them on. This year, it's going to be really good if you look at the new coaching staff there with the New York Giants and all the NFL, all the defensive pieces the Cowboys have put on. That will be a great game. That was one of the opening games that's already leaked to be played on opening night. So we'll get back there live Thursday, folks. If you like the show, share the show. Again, I want to thank all my Uber ride share riders for subscribing, getting a big, quite a few now. I want to thank you for that, folks. And again, without subscribers and followers, it's hard to get the show to grow, and everybody has. So thank you, folks. You have a good week, and I'll be back here live Thursday. We'll be going over all that, NBA playoffs, and more here on the Real Sports Scope.